What's up, guys? It's Revenge here, coming at you for Divine Insanity with a 35 and 6 SPAS-12 gameplay on Seatown. Before I'd start, I'd just like to say, yes, this was recorded in split screen. Ooh, get turned on. And so yeah, that makes my gun actually seem pretty zoomed in and look a bit whacked out, so don't worry about that. That's just because I was playing with a friend. So yeah, this is actually a pretty good gameplay I got in Seatown. It was actually a Moab streak, but it ended because of TDM being short, so I didn't actually end up getting the Moab. But I think it's probably one of my better shotgun gameplays, and it kind of shows off the kind of rushing style I like to play a lot. But I've already talked about that in the previous video, so today I'd actually like to talk about how I reckon COD's kind of splitting the community in a sense. It's come around ever since DLC started getting introduced in COD 4. It wasn't as bad in COD 4 because there wasn't that many people playing the DLC or really getting it. But in COD 6 and this COD, it got a lot worse, where because DLC comes out, it makes new playlists and it splits the community into people who have DLC and people who don't have DLC, which is good because it means you get to play DLC if you want to, but it's bad because you're lessening the amount of people you can play with, and especially as an Australian player, you don't get that many good lobbies. Like, oh, excuse me. You'll find that if you play any game type, really will struggle to be able to find 50 games to search for. I mean, it's not that bad in peak times, like, you know, in the afternoons when everyone's home from work and school and whatever else, but it's kind of hard to find a good game, and lots of those games won't be good connection. So it's kind of annoying, especially when you want to play game types like Sabotage or Team Tactical. I used to play them all the time in COD 4 and that, and they were fun, but in COD 6 it seemed like you couldn't find a lobby for them. You couldn't get in a game to play either of those game types, and it was because no one was playing them. Everyone was playing the high pace gameplays like Demolition and Domination and that. Like, you know, they go in those because they're more fun and they're more interesting and there's more experience to get, stuff like that. And I think that's where COD's kind of lost it, where they just keep adding gameplays, game types, where they just keep adding more and more and more and more and not actually thinking about what it's doing to the game. So, like, you know, in Modern Warfare 3 they keep adding in new community playlists, which are fun, they're really good, but at the same time they kind of piss me off because it makes people who like aren't as good as the game or that get sick of playing normal and they don't learn to play, or they don't, you know, get better, they don't strive. Like, you know, when I started playing COD 4, I wasn't a great player. I had to freaking, you know, get my ass romped a few times before I got any good, and, you know, that was part of the learning curve of playing through, you know, TDM and Search and Destroy and all that, and getting used to it and learning spots and learning maps and learning how to beat players and become better. Lots of the players nowadays are just going, oh no, screw this, I'll just play Infected, or I'll play, you know, All or Nothing, and they just do that 24/7. They don't play anything else but those, or Drop Zone or something like that. And it kind of splits the community even further than DLC does, because it lets, I know I'm trying to say that, you know, newbie players should verse me, but it's kind of like that. Like, you never get people who don't know the game that much. They're all in Infected, or they're all in Drop Zone and stuff like that. And so those kind of game types, they're not really adding that much to the game. They're a fun game type, but really they should just stick to private match with those. Like, I honestly think all these fun game types are fun because they're in private matches. You know, you play with your friends, you play with a famous YouTuber, you know, whatever else, and you kind of show off your skills, but it doesn't really matter for anything. But as soon as they go public, they get worse. Like, Infected's just a Moab camp fest, and then they had to remove throwing knives, which just ruins Infected, and then they had to bring it back in, and, you know, all that. It just changed the whole thing, and it just wasn't as fun, and it's moved a lot of players from the normal public playlists to these, you know, little fun playlists that aren't really that great, and it's just segregating the community. So I really think that COD should actually concentrate on, you know, amping up its player base in the popular game types. So, like, instead of having 35, 40 game types to choose between, have 10, less than 10, you know. Why do we need so many game types? I mean, if you go through half the game types, especially the hardcore versions of them, and search for a game, there is no one playing them. There's just no one. Like, hardcore TDM and Search and Destroy are probably the only exceptions, and maybe Domination, but still, there's less than 10 games for Australian players in those things, and really it's just pointless. Like, the fun game types are taking a lot of the players, and they really should just be sticking to, like, private matches. Maybe make a way to matchmake with private matches, I don't know, something like that. Like, be able to find randoms and not just play with friends. But, I mean, really, in my opinion, they should cut down the game types to just team deathmatch, free-for-all, the face-off playlists, which have replaced team tactical, so that doesn't even need to exist anymore, and then domination, demolition, search and destroy, and then hardcore TDM, hardcore search and destroy, and hardcore domination. And really, that's a bit... Oh, and ground war, because people like mass clusterfucks. So those are really the only game types that I reckon need to be in the game. The rest of the hardcore lists can kind of be defined by players, you know, asking for them back or something, but really, I don't see many other people playing the other ones. And then, obviously, there's game types like capture the flag and that, which are, you know, classic FPS game types, but they don't get played that much in COD. However, they are really popular in competitive Call of Duty. You know, capture the flag is one of the prime game modes, same with headquarters and that, but they just don't get played to that extent in public matches, so why leave them in public matches? Why not have them just as private matches? I mean, the competitive people can still play it there, and it means more people are in the game types. Really, you need to focus it down to certain game types without all these silly little off versions of them, and just concentrate on those being the game types people play, so we don't have so little people in game types and, you know, just impossible to find games, because it's getting a bit silly. Like, you go back to COD 4 and there was, you know, only a certain amount of playlists, and even that had too many in my opinion, but you just need to shorten it down to those few playlists so that there can be more people in game. So anyway, that's actually the end of the gameplay. I get a double kill right at the end. I was actually on an 18 streak after these 2 kills, and I think I would have been able to take out the guy in front of me, just about there. That guy, I think I would have been able to take him on and then flank the guy who ran to the right. So I pretty much had a 20 kill streak, but I didn't end up getting it, which kind of sucks, but you know, that's TDM. 35-6 with a shotgun is pretty good gameplay for me. I'll see you guys next time, and have a think about what I said. I think it's actually a really good direction COD needs to take. See you later.